Welcome to the iNetrepreneur Radio Show. We are so honored to bring you your host, the ultimate celebritypreneur, connecting businesses and celebrities worldwide. Winner of the Networking Organization of the Year, best-selling author, magazine publisher, trainer, and owner and founder of Network Together and the iNetrepreneur Media Network for magazines, TV, and radio network. We're excited to bring you your host, Mr. Robert W. Jones.
Well, welcome. It is Thursday. Once again, is it the last No, it's not the last Thursday of the month, because in 7 days, that will be the last Thursday of the month. And what we're celebrating on that Thursday is the Art of Connection Summit. And if you have not reserved your place for the summit, please do it now. Right now, we have over 200 people registered for this event. The last event, we had over 300 attendees from 20 countries and over 25 states in this United States. So this United States, sometimes I'm not sure, we could call it divided states sometimes, but that's a political rant, and I'm not going to get into that right now because who knows, they'll pull my license for it. So at any rate, I want to keep everyone abreast of things going on in our community. The first thing is, to buy a current published book. That's a published book, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. Please go to the following link. It's just mybook.to/Art of Connection 2, or do, or dose. Eventually maybe we'll have the book published in all these different languages, but right now we're steady in English. This particular book, book, was #1 in 4 different countries: Great Britain, actually England, Australia, United States, and Canada. We are so proud of that fact. And we have qualified for our world's best-selling publishing badge, which we're going to be coming out with this book again. So even if you have the book, make that one a collector's item, have the next one, buy it, get it. I'm going to get it too, with the badge that says you are a world's best-selling author. We're also doing that for our first book of the series, which is 365 Days of Networking Quotes. So I'm really excited that we have reached that status, and every author in that book should be extremely proud of that fact. Also, we will be coming out with our 3rd book in the series, 365 Days of Transformational Quotes. You can go to 365daysoftransformationalquotes.com. There, a regular priced reserved page, which means you get to pick the page of your choice in the book, is regularly $550, but we are offering an early bird special for $197. And this time, if you get it really quickly, you also get a ticket to the Art of Connection Summit coming up. If you're a non-author, it's $197, and so you can get in for that, the great price of a goose egg. That is zero. That is nada. That is nothing. That means you don't even have to search your couch cushions for any loose change to get to this particular event. We will allow you to come into it. So I'm just really excited that we're able to do that for our authors. Also, this is really the meat of our community, ntevents.net. That's ntevents.net. Believe it or not, we put on over 1,000 meetings, classes, events, summits. We have radio shows. You go there, get plugged in, see what we're offering, and just, make some connections. That's what this is all about. No entrepreneur has ever moved forward without anyone being aware of them. So please get in front of people. It will change your business life. Also, like us on Facebook. That's facebook.com/iNetrepreneur Radio. Yes, iNetrepreneur Radio. Even I myself will forget the own name of our own company. Also, you can, like us or see us or subscribe to us at our iNetrepreneurMagazine.com. You can go to iNetrepreneurMagazine.com and subscribe to our magazine. We have currently 40,000 subscribers. If you would like to write an article for it, we do a contribution cost on that, which is like for members $147, but it's going out to 40,000 people. So that is not too bad of a return on awareness. So at any rate, I'm really excited today because I have 3 authors who I have a budding author, Michelle Vilsack. We're going to get her. I'm going to wrap her down on this because she's a rock star. I said it. Anyone who says, like fight the food bulge, all that sort of stuff is just, music to my ears. But I have Michelle Goss and Mattis Whetstone. So let's go ahead and bring Michelle in. Hey, Michelle, how are you?
Hey there, doing good today.
Well, good is good, but I know when you say good, that really you're like a 9 already when you say good. So, I just want to make sure that people know that good for you is probably great to excellent in everyone else's world. So I'm happy that you're on our show today.
Thank you.
I've been fortunate enough that we've gotten to know each other over, the past few months, and I've seen your business grow. I've seen you grown. I've seen you go from, what I like to say, from kind of like corporate, academic world, really to something that's far more beautiful and meaningful. And that's really, the spirit of entrepreneurs, business owners, and even family members. And, there has been a little bit of journey, that you have taken from where you were at one time to where you are now. And I kind of wanted to kind of highlight that a little bit. What was the pivot point, and what got you from what you were doing before to actually, lending yourself to horse guided life coaching?
Life.
Life, of course, right?
Yeah. Just following the path as detours were put up in my life. As you said, as entrepreneurs, I've always run my own business, and that to adapt and overcome and figure out, what the next step is in that. And so I got involved. I've been involved with horses all my life, and that was a trainer and horseback riding instructor. So I have a lot of experience, and got introduced to what's actually called equine assisted learning. I call it horse guided life coaching. It just makes a little more sense. And went, this is my purpose, this is my path, and pursued and got my master's degree. And now combining my education, my personal experience, my professional experience, to be able to show people how horses can help make life so much better.
Well, and without stating the obvious, I mean, to be a life coach, there's a life coach who has a horse, and there's a life coach who doesn't have a horse. That is stating the obvious there. But, and I say that in such a way because, there is a difference between, maybe what people feel and what they sense and what comes across, and how energy is transmitted when you see it through guided horse coaching versus maybe standard life coaching. Tell us a little bit about how that looks like for someone who's probably maybe for the first time have ever heard of horse guided life coaching.
Well, the biggest thing is, we're in the present moment when we're working with the horses. It's all organic, because horses live in the present moment. They have one of the best memories in the animal kingdom, but they choose to live in the present moment. It's how they work. We're the only animals on the planet that have the ability to ask why. And we're the only ones on the planet that have the ability by thought alone to create an emotional response, which is usually tied to us not being able to find the why. And so working with horses, which are prey animals and we're predators, there's already kind of this energy difference between us. And with my years of experience in education and that with horses, my job is to help guide this process and ask questions about the experiences people have with the horses. There's no riding involved. Everything's done from the ground. So you don't need any horse experience whatsoever to be able to interact with the horses and start to develop your self-awareness. We all know that something's not right, or we're repeating the patterns, or why do I keep doing this or that? And, we get stuck. And with the horses in the present moment, suddenly it becomes tangible. It becomes something we can actually see and interact with in that moment, which is so different from anything else, because generally anything else, we're either talking about the past or the future. But here we're talking about what's going on right now. And then the best part, I think, of what I do is you get to practice these skill sets and figure out what works for you and what doesn't work for you, which I think is the more important part, to be able to develop your skill set of life on how to manage your life and move forward and, grow and be empowered.
Well, and I think that, you're talking about a lot of things which, are of interest to me because so much of the time, people have really three buckets to live in. They can live in the past, they can, try to predict and, maybe live in the future, at least manifest it, and then be in that, the gift of the moment, which is our present. But one of the things I look at is, I always think that human beings, us, you, me, Michelle, who's going to be coming on later, Matisse, all of us, we're the intuitive creatures, we're the intuitive species, and we seem to have a lock on that. But the way that I look at it and the way I've heard it from you, we don't have a lock on intuition, do we? I mean, horses, are actually intuitive guides as well.
Absolutely. Horses and humans have been together for centuries, different ways. And, it was thought that during the Industrial Revolution, horses helped develop our world and that. But when the Industrial Revolution came, it was figured that horses would just kind of disappear. And they kind of moved off, but they've never left us. And now they're coming back again to help us as humans move on, more spiritually and energetically than anything before. And they're finding a very powerful place to be because we're kind of stuck. We're trying to find balance in our life between, the logic and our emotions and navigate this world, which we all know has significantly changed and is still changing in ways we never thought were possible and never even thought was going to happen to us. And yet here we are trying to figure out, how do we do this?
Well, in so much of our past, let's go back to academic, let's go back to knowledge, let's go back how to we store and we index and archive, all of, our knowledge. And much of it always has been based upon an IQ, right? Everything's been on a certain amount of intelligence, and intelligence with attitude, they say, gets you to a better, altitude. But I think that attitude is going back to more of an emotional intelligence. We're starting to combine that with, I guess our regular, original thoughts of what intelligence is. But don't horses help us understand EQ, that emotional intelligence, much more than maybe even people?
Oh, absolutely. They live very simplistically. They have emotions just like you, but they
Mhm.
show the process. We spend about 90% of our energy our bad thoughts or bad feelings down every
Mhm.
day. That's energy we don't get back. And where horses just move through the process. If they're angry, they work through it. If they're depressed, they get through it. And the simplicity of it. It's actually what I wrote in the book, the connection, the 365 days was my quote is horses bring us back to simplicity so we can process the complexities of our life. And I feel that if we can get a hold of some of these simpler things, how to process, and that's what horses teach us. We all know we have emotions. We all know we have negative energies and all that. But how many of us I know how to manage those. I know how to navigate those. And that's where the horses comes in, because they teach us how to do that and give us instant feedback as we're practicing skills, which is something, well, it's really hard to forget that with a horse. We can forget words all day long and, block it out. Um, but as a client of mine said years ago, how do you forget this experience with this horse? Horse comes up to you in the moment when you're most vulnerable, you're most open, and puts their head on your shoulder and stands there and holds space for you with all your garbage, with all your bad, everything that is you. This animal goes, I get you, here for you, and stands there, accepts, because like I said,
Mhm.
we're predators. They're, I mean, they're just the power in itself. And I think that's one of the biggest things that changes with us, from traditional life coaching and stuff.
Well, and other things, I talk about this quite a bit, and I really kind of want to understand how horses are related to this, concept I always have, because in our world, technology it's changing faster and faster and faster. You look at that, through the centuries, and now it's through the decades, and then it's into the years, and now it almost seems like it's in the moments. We can connect with each other as people very, very quickly, but I keep cautioning everyone. You can't speed relationships, even if your communication is much faster and much farther. And I would think that it's the same way with the horses. There has to be a certain amount of trust in the relationships that you build between your, who you're working with and the horses, don't you?
Absolutely. I mean, the thing as you were talking about technology that comes to mind is 7% of our communication is verbal. And at least 93% for body language, eye contact, context, tone of voice, rate of speech, energy, all this, which cannot be conveyed accurately through most technology. Even here, when we're doing this, it's challenging because, yes, we can pick up things, but we can't pick up our energies from each other. And so a lot of our technology has disconnected us from ourselves and being able to connect. And that's where the horses come in, because they help us connect to self. Because if we cannot connect to self, we cannot connect with others. And that's just how it works. We are herd animals, just like horses. We need socialization. That was part of the biggest problem with COVID is we were completely isolated and couldn't have physical, do what we need to do. And it's detrimental to our health because we do need each other. And technology to me helps enhance that and keeps us connected, but it shouldn't be the main connection. And that's where a lot of us are struggling coming out of COVID, and that of, so how do I connect with myself? I've been alone for a year and a half. How do I socialize? How do we start dating again? All these things that build relationships. And so it's trusting, learning to trust yourself. And in the moment, we may not be able to trust ourselves, but we can learn to trust that horse because they trust us, because they're giving us instant feedback in that moment. And how powerful is that?
Well, and much of this is what you're talking about. Just seeing, this is what I really try to get across on people, Michelle. I mean, I just, I wish I could just beat it in their minds. It's like, I tell people this all the time. Just like you can learn accounting, just like you can learn math, just like you can learn psychology. You can also learn by practice. And when it comes to these trust, can trust be learned? And I said, if it is practice on an emotional, mental, and even, spiritual level, for some, it can be practice, it can be grown, and it can be conquered for those who don't think that they can trust again. Am I right?
Absolutely. A client,
Am I right in that statement?
absolutely. A client coming to mind from a group, we were doing some activities and that, and it became very clear as we were working with the horses and they were working in smaller groups with each other, as we were processing, she goes, I said, what's your takeaway? And she says, I realize I'd rather trust, I'm more prone to trust everybody else than myself. And she's like, no wonder I've gotten into some trouble and things, because I'm putting all my trust into everybody else. But in the moment, we're all going to take care of ourselves. And I think that's the powerful thing with horses. No matter how well I take care of my horses or anybody else, I can give them the best feed, the best everything, with the intention of, okay, reciprocate this. When push comes to shove and survival's there, or they're feeling threatened, they're going to take care of themselves, no matter what I've done. And I think that's really powerful for us to be able to trust self and others, is learn how to connect with ourselves, to be able to take care of ourselves, because we're taught so many things, do unto others as you do unto you, and this and that. And, if I take care of you in the best way, then it's reciprocated. And it doesn't work that way, especially with the horse. We can start to learn how to partnership rather than kind of be codependent. And that partnership is, I take care of myself, you take care of you, and let's work together to accomplish amazing things in our life.
And I think that that's so important. I remember, my dad, my father telling me he worked for Boeing, and he said, and I hear a lot of people say it now, but I think he probably originated it because he built planes. And he always said, when the plane is crashing to the ground, you always put your mask on yourself first before you put it on your children, because you are no good if you are not a part of, that practice of of being there for them in that way, but it has to start on your own self-care first. So Michelle, I just wanted to read your quote. You're June 11th. What a wonderful day, 6/11. You're on page 162 in this beautiful book called The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. And your quote is, horses bring us back to simplicity, like you said, so we can process the complexities of our life. And here you make the statement, life isn't complicated. Humans make it complicated. We're either overthinking, overreacting, or just shutting down. And yet life continues. And I mean, how true is that?
Oh, absolutely. What's kind of funny is June 11th actually is my birthday. So kind of cool that with that. So universe at work there. But yeah, there's a saying that if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. And if you're at peace, you're in the present. And, with our technology and everything flying around and stuff, we're just go, go, go. We don't take time to be. We are being, but we don't take time to be and have that time to slow down, to connect with ourselves, to be able to make better decisions, whether it's business or relationships, intimate family, whatever, and have that time and that space to connect with self so that we can reach our higher purpose, whatever that is. And that's where I'm at with it and how I'm moving forward as I'm launching on April 1st will be my official opening of Spirit Mountain Healing Services, which is now a 501c3 nonprofit, so that I can go out and help more people and be able to reach and connect and help, people learn, grow, and be empowered.
Well, again, I have your information scrolling across here. I am so proud that you've been certified not-for-profit. You can help more people. I think you can expand the scope of your services. Again, I'm here with Michelle Goss, founder of Spirit Mountain Healing Services. You can see it on her banner in the background. I mean, what a wonderful way to display yourself. And my favorite color, purple. You have it everywhere. That was the first thing I saw. When I saw you, I thought, man, we're friends for life. You love purple. So, are there any other ways that we can get a hold of you, Michelle, besides just what's here?
You can go to the website at www.spiritmountainhealing.com. There's a link there to RSVP for the grand opening and open house on April 1st. There's a lot of information, contact page that way. And of course, the phone number, you can call, text, leave a voicemail. I don't know if anybody ever does that anymore, feel free.
Hey, I am on a quest. Wait, I am on a quest to get people to start calling more. Believe me, I get too many emails. I get too many texts. I want more voice. Okay, I want more voice. So that is my quest. Let's have more voice. Michelle, thank you so much for being on our show today. You're a rock star. Again, she's in the current published book, The Art of Connection, 365 Days of Inspirational Quotes. June 11th is her birthday, so let's all celebrate it. And you know what? Say hello to a horse today. They might be your next best friend. Thank you so much, Michelle.
Thanks, Robert. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Yeah, I just have to say it. I mean, purple's my favorite color. And for those of you who know me, why? Because it has blue, which is cool like a cucumber, and it has red, which is caliente. So at any rate, that's what's so great about the color purple. My next guest today, I'm really excited. He is coming in from probably the great state of Oklahoma, is Matisse. How are you, Matisse? Good to see you.
Hi, Robert. It's a blessing and an honor to be here.
It's really interesting because we are going from extremes, and why I say that is we kind of went primitive with horse guided coaching, and I got to work on a farm during the summer. I got to be around a lot of animals. I know maybe for some of us it's like terrible to butcher, animals that you name, but when you grow up on a farm, it was just a part of the lifestyle. We didn't know any different. Okay. And I loved being around animals for the longest of time because it seems like there was always such a special bond between them. And guess what? We're not speaking any language other than the other 93%. That 7% of language is gone. But now, we, meaning you and me, I'm a recovering programmer. I've been in marketing technologies. I've worked with some of the greatest brands. And, here we are on the opposite end. You work in the other side of the world. You work in the digital media space with what I call the Web 2.0, technologies, where users come together and they generate content with each other. I mean, talk about a total opposite. And with you, what I know about you is you used to work with your hands, and then all of a sudden, one day you woke up and you said, you know what, I'm going to work with my hands, but in a different way. I'm going to let my fingers do a little bit of that walking. Tell us a little bit about that journey on how you went from your former career to getting into this digital marketing space.
I grew up in Michigan, and Michigan was the top 3 automotive. So it was basically shops up there and manufacturing. And so when I graduated high school, I went into manufacturing, and I've thought that was the way to go. And my father, he was a tool and die maker, and then he moved up into the executive offices in General Motors. So, and then my grandpa was a General Motors worker. So back then we were taught that you get a job, you stick with it even if you don't like it, and then you retire. And I moved to Oklahoma, and I did some welding and manufacturing work. And I worked for a company for 7.5 years, and they laid me off. And that got me thinking, because I never thought I was good enough to do any digital marketing or social marketing. I never thought of myself that way. And
Well, and the thing is, you've worked with your hands. You come from a lineage of people who, you could say labored in a different aspect of the world, and in certain ways, but here's the thing I look at, but you were still a builder. You were still building, in a certain way, and you came over into this digital, technology world. I think that there had to be some relatability between working with your hands and creating things, and then kind of working with your hands again and working with people through technology, right?
yeah, and I've all my life I've always wanted to help people out and work with people, but I just didn't see myself there. But when I started getting laid off, and I started realizing that so-called American dream that you were taught back in the day wasn't there. Anything could happen. So I decided that maybe I should look into working for myself.
Yeah, I mean, and it really is interesting because you and I have talked before, and what attracted me to you is I noticed that you created a space. I mean, truly a space of positivity, in a place, really in a place that sometimes isn't known to be positive. It seems like so much of the time, socially speaking, is human beings, we tend to state that we want to be positive, but we gravitate so much towards the negative. We state we want the sun to shine, but yet for some reason we feel comfortable in the rain. And and the way that I saw that you really created something different with how you approached, especially Facebook. Is, you were the first to go out there and create positive statements, and create positive impact, and repost positive things of your tribe. And one of the things that I like to say that you do really well in the digital space is you like to make things human. And I wanted to bring up, what got you to think, and what was that pivotal point to say, what, I'm going to take this very technological world and I'm going to make it very human again. I mean, what sparked that energy for you to start doing that?
Well, I partnered with a friend that showed me a business opportunity, and I always had inside me to be a good writer or to explain things, and I've always wanted to be an encourager because my childhood wasn't very happy. I grew up with a learning disability. Kids would beat me up for being different, and if I can change someone's life or change how they feel or be a good influence in their life, maybe they don't have to feel so bad about themselves or anything. So getting into this, I just was learning how to show up on social media, and I just put my spin on it, and I just want people to know how awesome they are and how great they are just by them being themselves without having to deal with all the junk that is going out in this world right now.
It I mean, my goodness, and we have Dr. Laura Cobb, and she wrote something in there: haters hate and lovers love. And that is very, very true, and I'm glad she put that in there. And I look at that because I share that, and I think that that's where we have such a bond. When I was young, Medis, I had a lot of trouble. I had a lazy eye, I had a speech impediment, and I was a selective mute. And I had a lot of trouble, and there was a lot of pain in my heart in those early years. My dad had left; he'd moved to 1,000 miles away. I was raised by a single mom, and much of the time I was alone. But sometimes you can take that loneliness, that hurt, that pain, that tragedy. You know, you just got to you just got to keep showing up, and you let it beat you, or you accept it, and you move on. I'm not saying that you and I are tolerant. We're not. But what we are is we're champions, for other people. We show up, but we also want to show up and help other people glow up, don't we?
Yeah.
you know and some of the ways you do it, and I want you to speak it in your own words, because you have an online business. You look for different niches. And here's something that I think is very different. You don't take on clients just because they're clients to take on. You really take on clients because you have to interview them, you have to understand them, you have to feel that they have the same space of positivity, because otherwise, in a way, you're actually an imposter to the very thing that you bring to this digital market space, don't you?
Yes. Yes. Also, I am in social retail too, and I have an opportunity for someone to partner with me too. At the end of the day, I don't want to work with someone that is not miserable or not wanting to be positive and build their business. If uh, if if they're not a right fit, I don't want their money. I want to be able to improve people's lives, and it's not about the money, but it's about giving back.
And I totally, I'm totally spot on. In one of the things that, like I said, that, we just have this same belief. And part of that belief is, it reminds me of Jerry Maguire, and Jerry Maguire had a mentor, and the mentor would tell him to jump up in the morning and seize the day, and make it the right way. In your quote, you're on August 17th, in 365 days of inspirational quotes. And your quote is just wake up and believe in yourself. I mean, if you do that each and every day, it becomes a practice, doesn't it, Matisse?
Yes, it does.
And so what are some of the things that you say to yourself as you wake up every day?
The reason this is a very important quote for me is because I was a very bitter and angry person in my past. And for me to work through my inner self and change things around, that's why it's so important. So when I wake up, I think of the good things I'm grateful for, and that I say to myself, everything is working out. It may not always look like it's working out, but it's working out. And I say I believe in myself, and that's what we need to do. Look inside ourselves, and how can we improve that hurt self that we are.
Well, and I want to jump in here really quick. There's just a tad little bit delay, so I want to get this paragraph across, because for those who aren't familiar with the Art of Connection community, they're not familiar with the book, they're not familiar with how the series got started. You have a paragraph on this page, on page 229, and it says this. Because for many of us, especially as entrepreneurs who want to blaze our own trail, that there has been some misfortune in our life that says, you know what, I need to get seen. I need to have an awareness. I need to show hope and improvement for others. And this paragraph says so much. And it says, I remember when I was scared and I didn't think I was enough. Wow, that's a whole statement in itself. I was stuck and I wasn't as happy as I could be. When I started realizing that I was good enough and started working on my inner self, then I truly started to live. And that just gives me goosebumps when I read it, because for so many of us as entrepreneurs, we look around and we look for that space that's out there. And even my dad said, just because it hasn't been done before doesn't mean it's not necessary or needed. That's the space that we run towards. And you asked this beautiful question. You say, what inner development do you need to work on right now? And what that tells me is like so many entrepreneurs, we work far more on what we do than who we are. And that's what I see that you do for yourself and other people. You work on yourself so hard that you actually have a reserve left over to help your clients. And tell me a little bit more about this inner development and what that looks like to you, and just share a little bit about that with us.
Well, I was really miserable all the time, and I wasn't very positive, and I probably wasn't very nice to be around sometimes, So when I was younger, I would go to these rallies and these events, and I would find people that would inspire me and pump me up. But then when I got by myself, I was sad again and depressed, and had pain, hurt inside me. So it took me a while, but when I realized if I just work in that hurt and pain, I had a life coach at the time, and I was dealing with a lot of pain inside me. And I told her, I'd rather be punched in the face than feel this hurt inside. and
Wow.
I knew the answer, and she told me, if you want to heal, you have to feel it and you have to get it out. And that's what it is we have to deal with we stuff down, or what's hurting us, or what's bothering us, and not just push it away, because the sooner we deal with it and heal from it, because I have so much love now for everybody, and I just I don't have uh, uh, any feelings against anybody. I just let it all go, and it's the most freeing feeling in the world.
Yeah, you and I have gotten to talk, on the phone and through PMs, and and I believe that in you. And sometimes, you feel the vibration of it, and I tell that so much of the time. If we just listen to our intuitive self, if we just claim our emotions back, if we just, honor, what we've been given in life, we can hear the true voices. And Matthias, I think that you are just an amazing individual that has had to go through quite a bit of the muck to be able to just like I say, you show up to glow up to blow up. And and I just want to honor you, and I'm so glad that you're on our show today. And I appreciate you. I have your information going across the screen right now. You're a social media and online business coach, but like I said, I mean, you really live in that space of positivity. And I really don't like using that word very often because I feel like it's overused and underfulfilled. But you were one of the true pioneers of making that word resonate and make it real. Are there other ways that people can get a hold of you if they want to reach out and connect?
Also, if you are struggling with how to show up or build an audience on social media, I put together a free PDF blueprint, and you can go to my website, MatiasWhetstone.com, and download it for free, and it'll start helping you understand what how to start doing that.
Well, again, thank you so much for being here with us today. I appreciate you. Let's keep doing more in the future, and together we can just change more lives, right? Thank you again for being on the show today.
And thank you. I really appreciate everything that you've done for the world.
Thank you so much.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Matthias has such a valuable space in my heart, and I really say that because in our discussion so much. I wish we could talk about that and we had enough time on the show, but we've really had to really overcome a lot of things in our life. And there's a saying that says it takes one to know one. And just having a beautiful soul like that resonates with me. Thanks again for being on the show today. My next guest, I'm really excited. I mean, we haven't had a conversation yet, but Michelle, you're on the show. Michelle, is how you got to see a little bit about what's going on here, got to hear the voices and whatnot. And I don't know if I'm going to laugh. I don't know if I'm going to cry. I don't know if I'm going to raise above. I don't know. It's just been a real amazing show. I'm going to get your information across here, and one of the things I like to say is, sometimes, I have to create a whole show just to get some of my guests on. So I'm hoping you're not like that, but you know what? I don't care. You're on the show. Welcome. How are you doing?
Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Robert. I've enjoyed listening to everybody's conversation that we've had so far. A lot of the same sentiments that I resonate with as well. And I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I go back and I'm just reading, even your Even your email address, hello@winthefoodfight.com. Now, I know what that probably means, but I have to admit the first thing I think of is I think about, a movie or a television show, and all of a sudden I see a bunch of kids in the cafeteria, and we're just like fed up with the same food or this terrible, bland, tasteless food, and we just start throwing at each other. Or I'm at the wedding or something like that, and I'm the bitter, ex-girlfriend, and I happen to sneak into this event, and I'm just going to take a piece of pie and I'm going to throw it at that other gal. So, that is that's kind of like the first thing I thought of when I saw like your domain name. But it really isn't all about that. It really is about giving. I don't know if it's giving up, but it's about really probably going through mastery, your relationship with food and how it probably can affect every other facet of your life. Am I more correct with that? Or should we go back to the movie and start throwing food together?
Yeah, actually I teach people how, we have food fight competitions, and I just teach people how to win. No, actually, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's about food relationships. And for people who are in it, like if you're in that space where you're thinking about food all the time, you're stress eating, you're worried about your weight, all of that, it genuinely feels like a fight, that you feel like you have to fight your brain all day long to not eat that thing, or then you give up and you eat it, and then you have to fight your brain again because it's telling you that you're worthless, you shouldn't have eaten that, and all that stuff. So it really is, I describe it, it's like a living hell, honestly. And when you're in there, it's like any other addiction. And so it's a fight, yeah, but it's honestly about stepping out of it more than winning it. It's more about like stepping out of the fight and recognizing that you don't really need to be in it at all. Yeah.
Well, and look here's my fist. Here's my fist. I mean, a fight takes energy, doesn't it? I mean, a fight zaps you. A fight, puts you in a place where, can you be productive if you're fighting all the time? That's what I want to know. Does it add or does it subtract to actually being productive?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. One of the things I always bring up to people is I ask them, like, what percentage of your day are you thinking about this, right? Like, what percentage of your day are you thinking about eating food, not eating food? You're apologizing to yourself or other people for what you ate, that you're thinking about your weight. What percentage of the day do you like wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, today I'm going to be good, right? Like, what percentage of your life is that? And the response, it varies, but I've had everywhere from 100%. Okay. Like 100%. It's always in the back of my mind, to like, oh, I feel like I'm a lot better. It's only 20%. Only 20% of my time is spent fighting the food. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. Like, let's celebrate, because so many of us have made such progress on this. So I want to celebrate that. But if you even think about 20%, that's 3 hours of your waking day that you're spending on this problem. And whenever you put it like that, that's 20 hours a week. That's a part-time job, right? So it really is zapping. It's zapping our confidence. It's zapping our energy, like you're saying. It's kind of always in the back of your mind. And it's really keeping you from really stepping into a bigger, better version of yourself.
But it's like, how do you create a shield? I mean, really, because in a way, when I see food fight, food fight means there's like, in certain ways, fighting is about projectiles. Whether it's you throwing out projectiles to someone or someone's throwing out projectiles from you, you have to somehow, it's even two-tiered because it's the inner battle, right? Because you can get cut on the inside, but then there's this outer battle, isn't there? I mean, you have magazines, you have televisions, and I know we're trying to go to this whole new state of, plus size this, and different organic, non-high fructose that. But I feel like the more that it just keeps going out there, it's like it lends even more information that keeps inundating my mind. Where do we start creating like a shield, or at least a buffer, to start some healing here?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think in order to win the food fight, you have to be like stronger, or at least more willing than most people, right? Because we're in it all the time. And one way that I differ, my approach differs from other people is like in other people or some people are like, okay, like we're going to just look at the food. We're going to keep it out of your house. Don't let it in. You're only going to eat these certain foods. These are the foods that you're going to eat to diminish your cravings. Then you're going to like, whenever you make the brownies, just give them away. You know how people say that all the time. Like, I just got to give them away. I can't have them in my house. Right. So they start it's what I call babysitting, honestly, but kind of like what you say, it's like putting up a shield, like, oh no, I'm getting attacked. Let me put up this shield around myself and like a little bubble. And if I just can build enough of it, then I'm going to be able to win. Then I'll be protected. But
Yeah, it's like it's funny because Dr. Laura says it's many times and I think it's like this too. It's not about what we're eating; it's about what's eating us. And then all of a sudden it's like can we eat our way out of a problem? I mean, there are certain things that we just attach to for comfort, and food just happens to be like number one on a lot of people's, no pun intended, plates, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely. Because it's so available too. I've had lots of people say, in my family growing up, alcohol was a no-no, drugs were a no-no, but sugar, they're like, here you go, buddy. You're feeling sad. Here you go. This is what we do. It's how we solve our problems. But what I find is you don't actually, you actually have more power than you think. It's less that like
Mhm.
these things are coming at you and more that like almost like you're creating them or you get I guess I'm not sure how. I haven't thought about that analogy enough to like twist it around. But essentially, like we think it's the food, we think it's the stress that's like making us do these things, that's putting us in danger. But in reality, what I find is it's actually the story about what the food does and the story about how you need food to help you feel better, right? Because we all have brains, right? We all have
Yeah,
brains.
yeah,
The
we
food isn't
do.
gonna jump up into your mouth, right? But it's what you think, it's what we've been taught about the food that it is your place for
And,
comfort.
and we are taught, believe me, it's like, okay, I'm having a birthday, so what do I get? Hey, Bob, you got a cake. It's about, celebrating with the wife. And hey, what do? You go out to eat. It's like, hey, as a kid, all of a sudden, it's just like, you got A's on your test. What do you get to go? You got to celebrate at the restaurant. I mean, so much is we're actually kind of like mental manipulating how it affects food and clearly as entrepreneurs you said, hey, if it's 20% and that's 20 hours a week and all of a sudden we annualize that over a year, guess what, you are not being very productive, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think you don't realize. I use this analogy too of we have this front room. I don't know if you've ever moved into a house and you're like, why did they do that? But we have this front room that has no lights in it, right? When we moved in. Like, I don't know what we're
It was
doing.
supposed to be the closet, right?
I know, yeah, but it was like so dark and kind of, it had windows, but it was kind of dark in there. And then eventually our friend came over and I was like, I don't want to wire lights in my, like, that seems like a lot of work, right? But a friend came over and he was like, oh yeah, I could get you, like, I know how to wire lights. Like, we can just knock it out in a day. It's just like $100. We'll put them in. And he came over, right? That sounds nice, right? Like, someone save me. So he came and put the lights in, and then I was like, oh my gosh, like I didn't even realize how much I was missing out on it. For weeks afterwards, I was like, whoo, like you just changed my life. It's amazing. I'm so happier, right? And it's just that little thing. But that's the same for there's these things in our life that we're just like settled. We're just tolerating because it's like, oh, that's going to be too much trouble, or that's not really going to be worth it. Or maybe I'm going to focus my money and my time and everything, like you were saying, like pushing, doing in my business rather than like focusing on me and what do I need in order to be more confident, in order to be more focused. And that's really the piece that
Mhm.
moves you. And I've had so many clients who, after we work together for just a couple of weeks, they like get a new job or they, start making more money, or they're like suddenly feeling confident to jump on Facebook Lives, right? And that makes a huge difference. Or network, right?
No, absolutely. I mean, and so many people, they again, they hide in that world of, I just, I want to be seen, but I don't want to be seen. And,
Mm.
and I think that, I mean, I can't even imagine, the place in someone's mind or even in their heart if they know that the key to getting, their gifts out to the world is actually putting themselves out there, but then they have this internal battle that says, but I don't want to be seen, doing it, or I want to hide, I want to be the voice, but I want to hide other people doing this for me. And one of the things I say, Michelle, is, no one owns your conversation, and yeah, you can get VAs and you can get salespeople and you can get people to advocate for you as well. But many times if you're hiding behind the umbrella of being afraid to be seen, what you're really doing is giving away the power of your own voice to be seen. And I think that that's the tragedy of it all as an entrepreneur, don't you?
Yeah. I'm remembering what we've said a couple times during this show too, is like that communication piece being so much nonverbal. And whenever it's not even how much weight you have on your body either. It's more about how you feel about how much weight you have, or how you feel about how you're acting, or how you feel about how you look. That is the thing that's keeping you from showing up. So even when you do show up, you're not really showing up as like that confident, vibrant, yeah, get her done type that that other people are going to see and be like, yes, I want to follow that person. She's like, he or she's got something, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and some of us even come, bring it down. We break it down to, that it factor, and that it factor is something else that just says, man, they got that, supreme and ultimate self confidence, and that self confidence is an energy that just entrains people around them. And it's like I tell people, if you really want to, build a tribe, don't be arrogant, just be supremely, confident enough that says, I am here for you. I am here to help you fulfill what your needs and your desires and wants are. But again, if your headspace is filled with the space of trash, you will never get there. And so just just walk me through, because I think probably, and this is really, really important because we don't know each other, but I think this is really, really important. Walk me through that first 5 to 10 minutes of that uncomfortable conversation where you really have to just kind of break them down a little bit, because I'm sure you have to do that. The thing is can you build them up? Absolutely. But you also have to break into a little bit of a shell, don't you, when you're working with someone?
Yeah, I think after you understand my process, it's more about understanding your brain as a
Hmm.
child and that understanding that you've been lied to your whole life, and your brain, it's like a child, and it just believed everything that everyone keeps telling you, that food's gonna comfort you, that you deserve it, that you shouldn't be rude. You shouldn't waste stuff. You should eat your whole plate, all those things. And so, what we really do is just get curious, honestly, is like, cool, tell me. Like, whenever they're like, oh my gosh, I had this terrible binge or I did this thing, I'm just like, okay, awesome. Like, let's see what's going on there. Right. Because we know that there's a lie that you believed in that moment. There's this lie that you believed about yourself or about food or something, and we just need to figure out what that is so we can rewire it so you don't have to worry about it anymore.
And it's terrible. And you open me up because I've never really thought about it this way. My dad used to always tell me, but I never thought about it in this manner. This is why conversations are so great. We're on the telephone right now. We're just talking
Yes.
person to person. And my dad would always tell me, he's like, he's like, the strange thing about lies. This is what my dad told me, is if you say them strong enough and deep enough and long enough, you'll believe it to be the truth. And my gosh, that is exactly what you're saying now. And all of a sudden you hear 20 years, 30 years, 40 years later, and we know, at least we thought we knew, these lies are our truth. And that is what we live by. And that's really what you do to help people bring power back to them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, can I give you an example? So, like
Yeah,
a
oh,
quick
of course.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one
Yeah.
of my friends was talking to me. They have these really fun days where celebration days, they have like themes, and there's pie day. So they always have pie on pie day. And they have like Ides of March, they have Caesar salad. Like they do kind of really fun stuff. But so it was Pie Day, and she tells me afterwards, okay, it was Pie Day, but I was really busy. I didn't want to like take all the time to make like a healthy pie. So I just went and bought a regular pie at the store. And then during Pie Day, I didn't want to miss out, right? Then,
Right.
you came in the house. I didn't want to miss out. It was Pie Day. I
Right.
had to have a piece of pie. But for her, she's reached the point where like sugar, for some people, it's like depression or like really knocks you out depending on who you are. And so that's kind of the point that she's at in her life where it just knocks her out. So the rest of the day, she was on the couch feeling sick. She couldn't even really engage. And I asked her, like, what's the whole point of Pie Day? Like, why do you even do Pie Day? And she's like, oh, yeah, because it's so fun. It's fun. It brings our family together. We get to enjoy this time together. And then I said, okay, what did you miss out on because you ate the pie? Right? So we're telling ourselves this lie that I'm missing out. I'm not going to be able to have like that pleasure that I want, but really we're missing out on the real connections, the conversations, the interactions that we want to really be having with people.
I always say, there's two types of opportunity. There's three types of opportunities: true opportunities, opportunity cost, and then opportunity lost, because that is a time and space that you can't get back. And I think that sometimes is something that we really need to think about and see what we really want to fill that time and space with. Michelle, I have your information going across here. You are at hello, I love it, hello at winthefoodfight.com. I'm so excited too, because you're going to be along with Michelle Goss, going to be coming up and on our virtual summit next week. It's a week from today. We have over 200 people registered. We hope to get over 100, 300. I'm really going for 400 people because I want to have instead of a pie day, we'll have a connect day. So put down your pies, leave your forks and knives at home, and let's just connect. Michelle, Michelle, is there any other way that people can get a hold of you besides the email address and your phone number?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a podcast. It's called Win the Food Fight, and a Facebook group called Win the Food Fight. You can go to winthefoodfight.com. So many things. We mentioned like some of those lies. So I have this little list that I often give out to people. That's like the top 10 thoughts, top 10 lies that are driving you to eat. So if you want to text me just text me your name and gift to my phone number, and I'll be happy to send it right over. It's got some great resources to help you like rewire those and get past them. So you don't have to be fighting anymore. You don't have to put those barriers up. The shields you don't need those anymore.
That's right. Put down the swords, put down the shields. We're not in medieval times. Just
That's right.
We could be okay. Well, again, waving the white flag, the white flag, the lies or the truth, or however that works. I'm not even sure. I'm gonna have to think about that one now. Again, thank you so much for being on the show today. I cannot wait till we get to dive a little bit deeper next week at the Art of Connection Summit. I appreciate you already. It's like, yes, I had to create a whole show just to get you on so we could meet. So, but we did it, and that's the most important thing. Have a great week, and I look forward to March 31st at the Art of Connection Summit.
Me too. Thanks so much for having me on.
You're welcome.
Network together. It's all about connections. Expand your sphere of influence. Build relationships. Be part of something bigger. Be part of Network Together.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I've been on a roller coaster ride. We've gone tribal, going back centuries with, become a part of the tribe with our horses and our communes and our learning and our trust to, getting into the opposite side of the world, this digital and technology realm, that becomes so complicated. And then, with Michelle and I, talking about, I've heard it called the battle of the bulge. And, if it's taken up 20, 30, 40% of a person's time, what does that look like in their life of things, especially if they annualize that over the course of a year, yeah, I mean, that can really take away, from a person's, profound success and utilizing of their gifts and putting the thought space that is a thoughtful and meaningful and impactful space for both themselves and others. I have a special guest here, everyone, who has come in from England, of all places, by the way of Italy, and it is one of my favorite people as well. Alex, how are you?
What a surprise!
I mean, what a surprise! I'm like having a show, and then here is Alex, and I'm like, I have Michelle, and I have my other. It's like Michelle and Michelle. It's like, hey, I got the Michelle and Michelle, television show here, and I have Matisse, and then I see you come on, and I'm like, okay, you're what time is it where you're at right now? What time in the morning is it?
Hello, Robert. I'm so excited to be here. It's actually 10:40 p.m. So it's evening time, and I think I might have messed up my timing. So thank you for your patience.
No, just thank you for being here. Alex, you've been a member of the community for probably over a year. You've been an advocate of the Art of Connection book in our summit. We know you, and you come into this whole yeah, there it is, a whole fourth dimension. And what's really interesting is, you come from a very traditional, sometimes static, very black and white, very intellectual, very, I don't even know how to describe, but from the just a financial world where it's all about pluses and minuses and black and red, and you've gone from this space of this like kind of like being a financial, let's say analyst and consultant to coach, etc. But what you've done is you're actually breathing life, and you're actually the one who kind of inspired me of a quote that I made, which was, become a prophet of your profit. So
Beautiful.
your knowledge is through what you're a prophet of. Michelle, being a horse guided coach, our other Michelle, being, someone who's winning the food fight so you can become to your power. Matisse, which with digital media marketing, that's like our profit side. But at the end of the day, as a business, for all of us, we still have to understand finances. We still have to have a love relationship with what money looks like, and we still have to embrace, if we're not making revenue, if we're not, holding back expenses, if we don't have an intelligent and the right type of emotional relationship with money as an entrepreneur, we fail, don't we, Alex?
Totally, totally. And I just had a conversation with somebody today that I've known for quite a long time, and they said to me, I cannot wrap my head around that you were in banking. I said, how is that possible? Right? But it's so useful for what I'm doing now, which is, work with spirituality and mysticality and everything in between, really to help other entrepreneurs that want to call themselves heart-centered, which I think this is what the Heart of Connection is. This is how we got together, heart-centered people, spiritual people, I say, contributing to the betterment of the world. There's always a money story. And unless you're comfortable with money, unless you know how to do money, it's going to be really challenging, or what we say, it's an expensive hobby. So you don't want to be in the expensive hobby situation. You want to be comfortable in being a leader, and being a leader means being comfortable with money before everybody else, right? Because that's the other thing. You've had many excellent people here tonight, and they all did things differently before everybody else, isn't it? You spoke about being a visionary with one of the guests, and you have to be that to be a leader. You have to be that to inspire. You cannot wait and see how everybody else is doing things, including money, and then you do it yourself. It's too late by then.
And one reason why I love for you to be in this community is because what I had found in my life is, I've seen a lot of communities in business, and I've seen a lot of communities, and I would say the health mental health, physical health space. And for so long, I've seen that there is this altruistic type of care, and then there's this money first type of belief. And I said, there has to be something different. There has to be something, because so many times when we're in this healthcare space, when I am out there helping people, when I'm serving them, so much of the time I serve them so well, I end up nothing for me. And then and it happens so much. I don't value what I do enough. I spend so much time in it. I expense away too much. I give away too many things. But that's not living either. That's giving. But in a wrong way. That's not understanding good value in trade. But then on the other side, I've seen so many communities, and it's like, how many tip canisters can we pass around? How much dollars do we make each and every minute? How much are we going to look at the end of the year? How much value can we extract out of community? As a programmer and a marketing technologist, that's what I did for companies. It wasn't about necessarily curing anything. It was about having a creative treatment to extract money from people. And I felt like with the iNetrepreneur Network, which was formerly Network Together, I wanted to bring a place where nurturing type of people, business owners and entrepreneurs can work with each other, so we can find that happy median. And see, what I love about you is you shed the conventional wisdom, or the status quo of what I believe a banker should look like, and you breathe, breathing heart consultancy, I'd use that as an alliteration. You breathe a different life into it, but you didn't always start that way. What got you on the road to say, what, I can bring spirituality, I can bring emotional intelligence into this, and I can actually help those who help others? Because that's what you do, Alex. What got you to that point to say, I see a clear path and I'm running towards it right now?
It was through trial and error, I think, and also the universe has plan, in a sense, or we have a plan when we come. If we want to go mystical, we come into this life with a plan that we forget, because when we're born, we forget what we wanted to do, and the universe has a way to say, you didn't come here to be a banker, really, did you? You came here to do something, let's call it bigger, maybe just impacting life in a different way. And it's just, it's going to be a whisper at first, and then it's a little bit louder and a little bit louder until you get to say, oh, actually, this is what I came here to be. And for me, it was very challenging moment in my life. I don't want to go into that tonight. It's too late. Just
okay,
somewhere else.
I get it.
And I'm laughing. It was quite traumatic. But the thing is, I knew the financial world was a bit too static for me and a bit too dry. I'm colorful. One of the biggest quality my colleagues were saying on the trading floor was, you breathe fresh air into this floor, right? So to me, that was a clue already, that I wasn't there to sell basis points and to sell. I was there to give that sense of well-being to people. And so when I had to reinvent myself, I had to take time off and to say, what am I going to be doing, knowing that I don't want to be in that bubble anymore? I want something more impactful, something that would free me as well, give me more satisfaction. And that's how I started my spiritual journey. My psychic gift just popped to life, and I listened, though, right? So I say, I didn't listen the first time, maybe when I entered the financial world, but the second time when I said, I need to reinvent myself, and I call it the angels, the guides, whatever entity you want to call it, when they start to put breadcrumbs on, oh, meditation is really working for you. Okay. Oh, mindfulness is really working for you. Oh, okay. Or that energy healing is really working for you. Okay, I'll look into that. So I was never closed off to, even though it was a world that was totally new to me, it started to open doors. And I thought, oh, it feels good to me. What if it feels good for others that are stressed? What if it feels good to others that need to find peace and respite? And I merged it with the finances, because I studied that. So why should I close the door? And I've got that experience, right, with number and money. I love money. I've got no shame in saying it, especially.
And you shouldn't, and that's just it. We are treated so much to feel like we should be ashamed of our worth, and I think that is a whole nother lie set. It just allows the people who really love money and not people to allow them to make more money, so the rest of us can just give it to them. That's the kind of spirituality I see, and it's one I want to defeat. Because I want to help those who have been a little bit helpless for far too long, and pick up that sword, pick up that shield, and lead them to the way of being, yes, that prophet of their prophet. And I do think, in maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I really think that we should look at currency and commissaire so differently, because it is energy as well, isn't it, Alex?
It is definitely energy. And I think what I can bring to clients is, again, if we look at, let's call it the spiritual environment, you're going to have, let's say, a session with a coach because you want to grow your business. And the coach is going to look at you and say, money is energy. And it's true. But practically, if you never work with that money in that way, it's not going to help you grow your business, is it? So you want to find a way to transform that money's energy. Yeah, but practically, for me, that I never looked at money as energy, what do I do? And so this is why I believe what I offer is unique, because it's helping practically and also on an energetic level. But you're not going to be in a world of, you're not going to understand what does it, what does understand it's a form of exchange. So what? how do I call my next client, right? It's like you
but
say.
See, yeah, but that's what's so powerful about this. It's like having Matisse on here. It's like, what, you don't need to understand his digital net technology energy. I don't have to understand, headspace energy to get rid of delimiting thoughts. You have the financial acumen that can free me up so I can use my gifts, because you're already in the lane. You have the nurture, you have the nature, and you've created your noodle to have greatness in there. And it's okay for me to have my greatness over here. And here we can collaborate, provide commerce with each other and help each other, so we both succeed without the expense of winning over on each other. Isn't that what we're doing, Alex?
Absolutely, yes. Yes. And it's also to recognize when you create a relationship, it's really a caring relationship. And I see many, let's call them coach or consultant, they're going to care about you while you subscribe to that service. It might be a very positive service, and they may have really but the moment you sever that relationship, they're not even available for a phone call or to say, hey, how are you? And in this world, we're more and more isolated in a sense, right? Through technology and through we're busy and we're creating millions different businesses. It's really nice to be able to reach out to somebody you work with or mentor, a coach or a healer and say, I'm well, I'm fine, or to receive a message from them. And this is, again, something that I'm sure all of your guests are going to agree, and all of your audience will agree. It's nice to have this connection. Yes, we are, working together, we're creating an exchange, but it's beyond the money exchange. Once we connect, I believe, for life, right? I've got a special place in my clients for life. And okay, if they don't answer 10 of my text message, then I say, okay, maybe, but I'm gonna, from time to time, I'm just gonna, if they pop into my mind, why not let them know and ask them, how are you doing?
Well, wait, and I think that you have a secret that, all of us have. If you're a success, so, if money is your gift and spirituality is your gift, it only is as good as your ability to pursue the relationships that need your gifts. And I will say this again and again, no matter what we do, whether we're an attorney or whether we're a landscaper or whether, like me, I'm a former programmer, whether we're a publisher, my job is to save as many people as I possibly can, because I know I will do it with conviction. I know I'll do it with principle. I know I'll do it with passion, and I will do it because it's within my head and my heart space, and the skill space, I don't have them all. And that's why I collaborate with other people. And I say this too, Alex, I say the corporation of the future is a band of entrepreneurs who collaborate together, so I just want to thank you so much for being on the show with me today. And I just wanted to create such a space for you, again, let's talk off the show, and let's recircle again, and everyone who's watching the show today, please, everyone who's come on, they all have a heart space, they all believe in that mind space, and we truly are a community who is here to fulfill, to have fun, and to help you from finances to being found. Alex, thank you so much for being on the show today. I want you to get some sleep tonight, because I know we're nearing 11 o'clock. But you came on anyway. Thank you so much
for having me. Lots of love.
Lots of love.
You've been watching the iNetrepreneur Show, a production of the iNetrepreneur Radio Network, with host Robert W. Jones. Join Robert each week as he visits with new and exciting guests who inspire, teach, and mentor entrepreneurs worldwide. Follow Robert each Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, and 8:30 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.